look, I know you're Swedish, and I don't want to extrapolate all of my current anger at the Swedes on you.
If you do the sound of the Swedish chef right now, I'm going to punch you in the throat.
But I went, it's so hard not to. So hard not to.
Please tell me something about a flat pack.
But I went, yes. See, I went to buy some IKEA stuff.
Yeah.
I bought 3 IKEA things.
Yeah.
They call it click and collect, which is their cute way of saying pickup.
Yeah.
You get there and it's all in a cart ready to go. And that was lovely. And one of the boxes had some tape on it. And I was like, that's weird. Because usually their boxes are all
perfect.
They come out of the box factory. They're all perfect.
Yeah.
And I peeled the tape back and look, and there's like a gouge in the cardboard.
Sure.
And they were super kind. Like, we're sorry we missed it. No problem. They gave me a new one. Okay, cool. I bought some other stuff. I went down. I unloaded it all into the car. I brought it home. I unloaded it from the car into the house. And then I started putting it together. Yeah. So then I get to the third one, which was like a little bookshelf. And I open it up. They stabbed the damn thing with a forklift.
Oh, yeah.
And the whole bottom was completely like destroyed.
You didn't check the box before you left the store?
Yeah, see, they didn't check it, and I didn't check it because they gave it to me. It's not like I picked it up off the shelf.
Well, you're right. You are correct. It is my fault.
No, I'm not blaming you. I'm blaming your people. I'm blaming your people in whole, because apparently everybody that works at IKEA is also Swedish.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to point to it, and I'm going to tell them very sternly, bork, 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 bork. That's what I'm going to tell them.
That's it. I quit.
And if they ask any follow-up questions, I'm going to bork, 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 bork.
I'm leaving.
That's all I'm going to do. That entire transaction is going to happen with me only acting as the Swedish chef the whole time.
It's our last episode.
We'll see what happens.
Quiet, please.
Nice seeing you all.
And then I'll get some meatballs on the way out. It'll be great.
4.
I'll bring you some if you want some.
3.
Bring the meatballs. I do like the meatballs.
2.
Company presents a truly terrible podcast. Welcome to Nonsense Season 4, Episode 4. I'm Jeff Parker.
I'm Stu Little.
This is our take on the week's business, tech, and entertainment headlines. This time, Wikipedia enlists Meta, Microsoft, and Amazon to fund the future of knowledge.
Oh, great. If it's anyone I want to entrust with all of humanity's knowledge, it's going to be those guys. Too bad Toys R Us and Red Lobster are out of business. They would have been better stewards.
How the AI hunger for RAM is starving the rest of the PC market.
Oh, man, it's bad. I saw a guy out in front of Best Buy yesterday with a sign that said, "We'll work for RAM."
But RAM will not work for you.
No.
Unchecked power. Lawmakers demand FTC action on Trump's no-show phone.
Made in the USA? No, we meant delayed in the USA.
Or charade in the USA.
Oh, yes.
Also, our big story later this week, vaporware, products that will change your life. Maybe. Grab a chair because the future has been just 6 months away since 1997.
But maybe one day. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Speaking of vaporware, how's your week going?
Hey, now I can hear you sitting right across from you. Yeah, I don't know if you know this or not, but it is January, which in Los Angeles means it's summertime.
Yes.
And it's been lovely. The weather has been incredible. We sort of got our rainy couple of weeks out of the way. So now I've been getting outside as much as I can because, it's always terrible in Southern California. You have to be inside for a whole 2 weeks straight and then immediately back outside because it's 78 degrees. It was like in the 80s last week. It was crazy.
We had the Rose Parade, so we had to have warm weather.
I know. They're like, well, I'd warm it up again.
Southern California rises to the occasion of the Rose Parade every year.
The winter is really some of the best. All the times in Southern California, the best. This is why everybody hates us.
It's amazing.
But it's one of the many reasons. Anyway, I've been outside a bunch. I do these interview sessions with my dad, which are really fun. So we get those outside to do that. I have been running around the park with the kids, which is great. They have these little RC gliders. Have you seen these? They're like styrofoam gliders.
I have seen them. I want one desperately.
Yeah, they're so really cool. It doesn't have like any elevation control on it. It's just 2 little tiny motors, but they are a blast and it's easy for them. And of course, they were having so much fun and they're so excited as I was telling them to settle down a little, get a little high, and then immediately got it stuck in a 50-foot tree.
Of course.
And then looked at me to climb up there and get it. And I was like, no, Daddy will order you another one on Amazon. Daddy is not climbing to the top of that tree and falling to his death. But it's really fun. They're super fun to play with because they're really easy to fly and it's really enjoyable.
I don't even have a child living at home and I want to get one.
Yeah, you can borrow my kids.
Yeah.
The real problem is this is going to be the gateway drug to other much more expensive RC things.
Yes.
Like my son has already asked for a remote control MiG fighter plane. And I was like, no. Like maybe we'll get the glider version, but like I'm not getting you as soon as you have a Pelican case you're putting these things in, you've gone too far. So,
and by the way, upstairs I have Pelican cases full of FPV drones.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Oh man, I'm really close on those too. Fun. Yeah. My kids are a little too young for that. I think they will be ramming them into stuff, but they're going to be very close to FPV drones very soon. So yeah, we might be borrowing Uncle Jeff's FPV drones and flying them around.
It was during the pandemic. We would have races around the border of the house, the property
so
here.
Cool.
And it was so much fun. We
bet.
We have a very, very long driveway that is straight. And so we'd get up as much speed as we possibly could and then just go right over the gate where the cars come in and out. The gate was closed. You couldn't see around it. So we just go right over the gate. We had about 30 feet of sidewalk that we had to navigate, and you'd cross your fingers. Nobody was out taking a walk.
Sure.
Because we're doing 70 miles an hour coming at them with an FPV drone.
Totally.
So you really, really hope no one's there when that happened. It was really fun. It was
and as they like to say, one of the best strategies is hope. You really want to just rely on hope that someone's not there.
I think the drones weighed all of, maybe 80 grams or so. They weighed nothing to hit you. You would barely notice it.
Well,
but it was coming at you really fast.
F equals MA. So if you have a small M, that's great. But when the A gets really big, the F is still pretty big.
Be careful what you say about my M there. How dare you?
I'm more interested in your A. How's your week going?
I think it's just gotten better. My week is going fantastic. We are recording a little bit early this week because there's a football game that is going to be right in the time zone where we normally record this program. So we're a little ahead this week. Number 1, Indiana 15-0 versus number 10, Miami. Indiana's looking to complete a perfect 16-0 season and secure their first ever national title under Curt Cignetti. Meanwhile, Miami is playing in their home stadium, seeking their 6th national championship and their first since 2001.
Well, that's exciting.
Oh man, I cannot wait. I am hearing now from people who are like naysayers who are saying Indiana's no underdog story because it paid for its players. It paid lots of them. It had $14 million or something like that. But all the schools had that NIL money. If you look at the amount of NIL money they had, they were at best 12th in their spending.
Wow.
So it's still an underdog story.
Sure. Well, less of an underdog at 12th, but it's still, you're not number one.
We weren't even close to number one. In the top slots, those schools double what Indiana was spending on NIL. Now, Indiana's going to get a lot of donors now because the program's good.
Everybody loves a winner.
Yeah. They started to get donors this season because they were good the previous season, even though they were working with about 16 cents worth of NIL money at the time because they just didn't have the donor base.
Sure.
Curt Cignetti is the first coach in Division I history to start 10-0 in back-to-back seasons at 2 different schools. The first at James Madison in 2023 and then Indiana in 2024. Before 2024, IU had zero 10-win seasons in 125 years of football. In just 2 years under Cignetti, they have secured 2 10-plus win seasons. In November 2025, Indiana secured its first ever win at Penn State, ending a 0-25 all-time road drought.
That's good, right? That they ended the drought? I think that's good.
Yes.
I'm not a sports guy.
No. To start the 2024 season, 24/7 Sports ranked IU's roster talent as the third lowest in the Big Ten.
Oopsies.
They finished that year at number 10 in the country. They got knocked out in the first round of the playoffs by Notre Dame.
Yeah, love those guys. Here's something that I think pretty much everybody knows, and it took me a while to catch up to, and it was like this epiphany moment. I used to think that the folks that do these rankings, and especially like the forecasts, like the folks that make the sports books, I was like, oh, they must know
knew what
something
they were saying
about the data. No, really.
They really
I thought
don't.
it was like a weather forecast, and they were like, oh, we think it's going to look like this. And then once you sort
it's
of
like
realize,
a weather forecast before we had computers and before we had satellites.
all you're trying to do is figure out how do you get half the people on one side and half the people on the other. It's just a bellwether of whatever current sentiment is. And I think what you're talking about here with IU is such a great instance of that, right? Everyone was like, no, IU, no, they've always been terrible. They're always going to be terrible.
Yeah, sure.
And it was like those rankings.
After an amazing season last year, they were still saying they were going to be terrible.
They're going to be terrible. That was a fluke last year. So this really just highlights how bad those things are, I think.
It's an impossible task to actually predict the future in a game. Anything can happen. Boy, oh boy, over the course of a season, you realize how wrong they can be.
Absolutely.
The 2025 Big Ten Championship win over Ohio State drew 18.3 million viewers, making it the most watched conference title in history.
18 million of those viewers hated Ohio.
That probably is true.
Can pretty much guarantee
there were only 300,000 were in Ohio.
No, the other 300,000 were incarcerated. But the 18 million, they definitely hated Ohio. Pretty sure.
I have been getting all of the possible Indiana gear imaginable.
Got your Indiana overalls?
I'm not buying
Got
any
your
of
Indiana
it. It's being
pitchfork?
sent to me by it's being sent to me by friends and listeners to this podcast.
Oh, how have I not done this? Oh man, I'm gonna get you.
I'm not a gear guy. I have one Indiana sweatshirt that I wear, and other than that, I'm not a Indiana guy. I want to talk one more thing about football. And
only one more? We still have 40 minutes,
right?
All right, go ahead.
Bob Chesney, the new coach for UCLA. They keep equating him to like being the next Curt Signetti. And there's something to that. They both came from James Madison, both had pretty successful records. The thing they keep saying about Bob Chesney, and I have high hopes for UCLA. I honestly do. As a USC graduate, I have high hopes for UCLA football because it's going to be 6 more years before USC can field a football team.
Okay. All right. So you just want a local. Okay.
I would like college football to exist in Los Angeles, and my only hope now is UCLA. But everybody keeps saying Bob Chesney, he's like Curt Signetti. He can start from nothing and he can make a program. And it actually kind of isn't true. He inherited Curt Signetti's program at James Madison.
Okay.
Yes, I am a strong USC supporter. I really hope this works out for UCLA. I have high hopes for UCLA.
May I ask one question?
Yes.
Why?
Because I don't have USC football. There's no USC football.
I would rather sit in the dark than watch UCLA win a football game. What? I don't understand. I don't want them to ever win anything ever again.
College football in Los Angeles.
How could you possibly want UCLA to? You're like, well, I guess no, full stop.
Forget it. We got 6 years of sitting on the bench now.
Did you actually go to USC? Wait, did you go to the University of South Carolina? Is that the USC that you went to? I've actually never checked your diploma. I feel like I have to get a historian on the case on this.
More importantly, check my mail and see how many fundraising I'm getting from USC.
Yeah, but they'll send that to anybody. They don't care. Warm body. Yeah. Oh, you're in that zip code. Oh, we're going to send you the big packet.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I understand. Yeah. I mean, Indiana's gotten the short end of the stick the entire year, really the past couple of years.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Assuming that they win the championship game.
And again, listener, we don't know. We don't know. We're just ahead of the game beginning. We do not know. But
assuming they win the championship game, especially if they win by like a large margin, then I think they've got a really good case to be considered ranked number 1 for the year. Yeah. They're still probably more going to be like a number 2 or number 3 team, considering how good Ohio State and Alabama look. But, I think that'll give them a fair look. Yeah.
In the sports rankings, you just give them spot, even though they've beaten every team they've played.
I'm clearly being a smartass, but I would like to see them win the national championship, and then the AP poll be like, oh yeah, they're ranked 3rd now. Like,
they're 3rd.
That would be fantastic.
The whole beginning of the year.
The whole year.
They were just like so low, and it was like, oh wow, I'm not seeing this. Are we watching the same games?
Yeah. No, I'm very excited. I hope Bloomington gets it done.
You and me both. Let's get to our headlines.
Let's do it.
Wiki gets paid. AI gets smarter. Everyone forgets to celebrate 25 years of typos. The Wikimedia Foundation has secured major API licensing deals with Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, Perplexity, and Mistral, forcing AI giants to pay for the data they once scraped for free. I should mention Google has been paying for it since 2022, I believe.
Well, good for Google.
Everyone else is just joining the program. And,
just catching up.
Yeah, and Google has been writing checks, thankfully. I mean, because it's a great thing. As AI bots now account for 65% of expensive infrastructure requests, these commercial agreements via Wikimedia Enterprise aim to offset soaring technical costs. While Wikipedia remains free for the public, or for the cost of a coffee at Starbucks, they say, the foundation is battling an 8% drop in human traffic caused by AI chatbots that summarize content without sending readers to the site. Founder Jimmy Wales argues that if AI models want to train on human-curated data rather than angry social media feeds, they must pay their fair share. The move marks a critical pivot from a donation-only model to a B2B data powerhouse.
I think generally this is a good thing.
Yeah.
You certainly run the risk now of maybe they start to kowtow to the folks that are writing them a check to do things differently. I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't.
Can I say why I think that's not going to happen? And my last sentence is a little bit misleading, I think. I want to make sure I'm really clear. The donors are still paying the vast majority of the freight here.
Absolutely.
Not these companies.
But I suspect there's two things happening here. One, sort of paying for the fair share, I appreciate, but also they're making a more efficient process by which to get this data as opposed to scraping it through individual requests. Like, just give them a tar GZ file and move on. That should be the way.
They are. That's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. So, and I'm always a big fan of efficiency. If you're going to do it anyway, let's do it efficiently. So that seems to be the case here. Should be a good thing. I mean, since Wikipedia has everything, right? I mean, they have at least the high level understanding knowledge of everything. This seems like a great place to start.
A beautiful repository of knowledge that has really good editing. I mean, everybody always thought, well, this is just going to be the garbage encyclopedia.
Yeah.
Even when my kid was in high school, which wasn't that many years ago.
Yeah.
He's a sophomore now in college. When he was in high school, one of the first things the teachers would always tell them is you can't use Wikipedia as a source.
I'll be curious to see, this is a bit of a digression, but I'll be curious to see when academic institutions start to allow citing AI as source.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's going to be interesting. You got a lot of hurdles with getting that done. Now with
maybe never.
I don't know. I'm not going to say never.
Yeah.
I mean, right now you can still get data.
You'd have to cite which AI you used.
Well, but
you couldn't just say AI generally.
Yeah, but it's also not discrete nor deterministic. So like it could say something different the next time. You don't really know.
That's interesting.
And now you could argue that a link to a Wikipedia page requires a snapshot in time, right? If you're writing something, if you're writing a paper and you want to cite something from Wikipedia, if you cite the URL, that URL could change. So in a similar sense, you can think of it as not being deterministic.
It doesn't change often.
Of course, but certainly, let's say some major event happens. Let's say there's some major data that comes to light. They would update the Wikipedia link. That could substantially change what you wrote about a month ago, a year ago.
You can also see the history. I don't know if you ever looked back.
Yes, you can see the revision history. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Which is really cool.
Which is, I think, if you cite the URL and the date, which I don't think most people do, but you could maybe infer it from the date of the paper or whatever the source material is. Then at least you can get back to it. There is no version of this for AI that I know of.
Yeah.
Not only over time, but also just the same instance. If you ask the same question over and over, you're going to get slightly different answers.
Answer.
So it's really interesting to think about how that's going to happen. I do think the day is coming. Right now, you can kind of cheat because you've got this RAG model behind it where you can point to, oh, the AI told me this, but really it came from this source. Yeah. And if you can be bothered to click on the link and read it, then you can say, okay, here's the Wikipedia source that it came through. But I digress. Net, I think this is a good thing for Wikipedia, for the LLMs and for humanity at large.
I agree.
Oh, good. We're on the same page.
They never said how much the amounts were that companies were each kicking in.
$19.99.
We don't know numbers on that.
Dollars.
Is that right?
No, I have no idea. I'm assuming it is let's make this more efficient so it costs you less and let's pay you a little scratch. Somebody talked about this quite some time ago about doing like distributed backups of Wikipedia, of really not just Wikipedia, but of all knowledge sources that are sort of these open source knowledge sources so that they can never be erased from the world. I think that's a great idea.
RAMaggedon, when silicon ghosts drive up prices, the 2026 hardware market is spiraling as an AI-driven memory shortage expands from RAM into GPUs, SSDs, and hard drives. With DDR5 prices up 400%, manufacturers are now prioritizing high-margin hardware to maximize profit per chip. Mid-range sweet spot components are the primary victims. The RTX 5070 Ti faces potential extinction as makers shift silicon to more expensive models, driving street prices 50% above MSRP. Meanwhile, high-capacity storage is vanishing, with 2 terabyte SSDs doubling in price since late 2025. Even mechanical hard drives are seeing steady price hikes as supply chains tighten. For PC builders, the message is clear. The AI tax has arrived, making 4K gaming and high-speed storage a luxury few can afford.
So we've mentioned this before on the show. I made a very broad and what I believe to be inaccurate assumption that most of this margin was being gobbled up at the retail level. Like you had retailers that were scooping this up or distributors that were like, oh, there's more demand. It looks like it's all the way back to the manufacturing side.
Certainly with GPUs, because they can pick and choose where they spend their allocation of RAM.
Thank you for asking that. We're saying that. I mean, specifically talking about RAM. I assumed RAM was all the middle layer and the manufacturers weren't seeing much of that gain. Yeah. It looks like that is not the case. It looks like they actually are seeing a significant part of the gain here. And you go, well, how is this not some sort of RAM cabal, right? Like it just, we've seen this before. It seems like there's some modicum of price fixing. The good news for the consumers, really, that are paying these higher prices is that there's likely no one in this administration that's going to care at all about this. So if there is price fixing, who's going to jump on it?
No one's going to dig in and find out. By the way, it's so bizarre. Memory is one of those things that's not that complex to make. Yeah. It seems like if you had the capability of making RAM chips, now would be the time you would dial up production big time. Yeah. And that doesn't seem to be happening.
Well, I think we're going to see something similar we saw in the home automation market, right? I think the winner here is going to be IKEA. I think you're going to be going to IKEA and buying memory, and it's going to be like a pre-assembled, comes in a little flat box, and then it comes and there's that little amorphous guy with a soldering iron showing you how to put it together, and you just put it together.
I want to see some memory that doesn't come in a flat box.
Comes pre-assembled. You're like, what? Yeah. Really? How does it look like that? I don't know. From what I can tell, having been involved in this, because I decided per your urging to build a machine late last year for the first time in, I don't know, decades. Yeah. And then I watch these prices going up to the right, and I'm like, what is happening right now? This is insane.
And that was when it was cheap. It's gone up so much more since then.
That's the irony. Like I'm so cheap that I bought a pack of memory that I was like, I'm paying like 30 or 40% more than what this stuff cost a couple months ago.
Sure.
So I just returned it. I didn't even open it. I returned it. I could have kept that and sold it for 4x at that mark, which is insane.
Retire.
Well, but I mean, I'm not going to mean like the memory arbitrage business, but
sure.
Somebody probably is. Somebody's probably sitting on hoards of this stuff and just.
I can't imagine there isn't someone who is doing that. Why wouldn't
That's just sucking up all supply. Well, you don't know when the bottom's going to fall out, right? What does demand look like?
But you don't really ever know with most arbitrage situations.
Of course. Yeah, fair point. Of course. But like DDR5 memory, you said this in the start of this headline. DDR5 prices are up 4x.
Absolutely insane.
Which is crazy. Since like basically mid 2025. So in the past 6-7 months, 4x.
It does seem amazing that someone else has not just popped up and gone into this business because it's so profitable now. The margins are so high on DDR5.
I'm assuming you've got some amount of time to flip this over, but I got to believe there's a bunch of people trying to jump into the space. It does seem like there's a decent number of the cheaper off-name brands that haven't seen the bump in price, which is kind of interesting to me. What does that mean? Like nobody's buying it, or are they just not in the cabal? Like I don't what's going on. I don't know.
Are people afraid because it's like
I'm afraid.
I'm going to say something pejorative now.
Yeah, here goes.
Are they afraid because it's cheap Chinese memory?
This is one example where I don't need to be particularly racist. I just look at the non-brands and go, I don't want that crap. I don't trust that crap to my storage needs, whether it's long-term SSD storage or medium long-term or short-term memory like RAM. I want a brand. I want a named brand that I can trust behind it. Period. Full stop.
I love that we are just so opposite of this. I could care less.
Really?
If it tests out well.
Really?
If you can test and test and test this stuff and it works just as well, I don't really care what the brand is.
I don't have the patience or time to be wrong on this. And usually the price differential is low. You're talking about like 15%. I'm willing to pay that 15%
when it's small like
tax.
that, I don't really care.
Now, no. Now, okay, I appreciate your view now of saying like I'll still buy it.
If it's a 4x difference, then go ahead and dig into the testing. Let's find out about this.
Still not there. Now I'm just buying abacuses because I don't even want anything to do with any of it. No, I hear your point on it. That is interesting. I haven't really I guess I have considered it because I'm not buying it. So I guess I'm still in the same place where I'm just like, no, I'm not going to go buy Super Skills DDR5 memory. Like I want a name brand. I want a Corsair or something that has been around. Crucial.
Just don't care. If it tests out well, I just don't care.
I would, if anybody's listening from the great country of Sweden, I would buy IKEA memory. I just want to say that I would.
Probably make great memory.
I'm sure it'd be great. The assembly would be a pain, but it would be great. It would be great memory. What I don't understand is how manufacturer prices haven't already shot up, right? You've seen some increase. I don't know if you can attribute it to this, but how have manufactured PC prices not go up?
Well, they're going through their allocation of whatever their contract is.
Yeah.
Eventually that comes to an end, though.
You would think, but I would have suspected by now, 6 to 8 months in on this, you'd already see those prices go up, but we haven't. I'm really glad that you got me to start making a PC right at the start of the biggest increase we've seen in 20 years of component prices. So
I tried to get you to start before prices went up.
You know what? Now that I think about it, that tells me who the orchestrator is. You've controlled the market, haven't you?
Me.
You've got a room just full of DDR5 at your house.
A room? No. I've got warehouses.
That's what those 3 40-foot containers in your backyard are for.
Exactly.
And then you see like mechanical hard drive.
Spinny drives, yeah.
Spinny drives. Spinny media is also going up, and not as much. Like you're seeing like 15-20%. But still, that stuff goes down to the right forever.
It still requires a little bit of RAM.
Well, let me choose my new computer that uses hard drives as memory storage. It's very slow. I don't know what we're going to do. I think if you really need any of this direct-to-consumer components, you have to just bite the bullet and pay it right now. I don't know what choice you have.
Sure. I want to watch a football game, so I want to move us forward.
Yeah, please.
So finally, from the Grift Garage, surprise, after 6 months and numerous delivery date extensions, Trump Mobile has yet to deliver one pre-ordered phone.
Oh, my shocked face. Look, this is it.
6 months after its grandiose launch, Trump Mobile has yet to deliver a single T1 smartphone, despite pocketing $100 pre-order deposits. Senator Elizabeth Warren and fellow Democrats are now demanding an FTC investigation into the company's deceptive practices, ranging from missed delivery deadlines to dubious made-in-the-USA claims. The probe faces a steep uphill battle. President Trump has asserted direct control over independent agencies, and FTC Chairman Andrew Ferguson has signaled his loyalty to the White House. While customers receive contradictory excuses for delays, including an unrelated government shutdown, the company is currently selling refurbished foreign iPhones to fill the gap. With the T1 now allegedly slated for Q1 of 2026 release, the situation has become a critical test of whether the FTC can still police the president's own business interests.
First of all, this is not a surprise. You can't announce a phone in June and be like, we're going to ship it in 2 months. And oh, by the way, we're going to make it from scratch and it's going to be made in the US and it's going to be gold. Like, even if they were announcing like a wooden train hand carved, to be like, you can't get this thing out in 2 months. There's just no way, let alone a phone. And then, because I was alive during this time, we talked about it here on the show. Then when you see their pictures and not just me, the whole world was like, that's an iPhone that you went into Photoshop and made gold. And then like a week later, they were like, no. That was just a mock-up. This is our phone. Then it's a Samsung phone that they literally just just made gold. And it's like, wow, this is the griftiest of grifts. So this letter is submitted last week, and I'm in my head thinking, man, they grifted a lot of money, right? Like they're taking $100 pre-orders, something they're never going to ship.
Yeah.
And I'm guesstimating in my head they took like tens of thousands of orders. I was not going to be surprised if they took like 25 or 30,000 orders, which is a lot.
And just didn't ever show up with a phone.
Right? That's like $3 million that they took. As it turns out,
you're not even close.
I was wrong, because who wants to grift a couple $1 million? If you're going to grift, go big or go home.
600,000 pre-orders.
600,000 pre-orders.
$60 million in upfront cash collected by Trump Mobile since June 2025 without a single device being shipped to customers.
That made Elon Musk blush. Even he was like, wow, you outdid me at my own game. Sure. Remember, the Roadster was like a $45,000 or $50,000 deposit. This is the Roadster 2.0 that is, coming days away.
Sure.
What I am shocked that the Trump Mobile didn't do, that I had forgotten that Elon did with Tesla. Remember, Elon had the referral program where if you referred, like I think if you had 50 some or 55 some referrals, confirmed referrals that bought Roadster 2s, they would give it to you for free.
Oh, okay.
I've seen this movie before, right? I've seen the multi-level marketing schemes before.
Sure.
They are extremely effective, right? They work. The good news is we typically have a governing body that operates to keep our interests at public in line. They're the federal, what do they do? It's a commission at the federal level for trade.
Federal Trade?
Yeah, it's the Federal Trade Commission, I think. They typically do a great job.
They did before they were staffed with sycophants, but yes.
The FTC, the once independent agency tasked with the mission of, quote, protecting the public from deceptive or unfair business practices. That's a really good mission.
Yeah,
I like protecting the public.
You need somebody like that.
Yes, especially for folks that might not be as sophisticated to understand what a $100 phone pre-order grift looks like.
Sure.
I don't think it's that sophisticated, but I like that there's an agency that protects us. And now if I'm be like, oh, no, I'm going to control all of those. I don't think he's going to be extra assertive on the ones that bear his name. So I'm just looking at this going, man,
probably not.
The writing here is on the wall.
He is ripping off his own supporters.
Yes.
There's no one on the left who went, I'm going to get one of those Trump phones.
Yes.
That looks like a great phone. I'm going to get one of them. No one said that. No one did that. These are the people who support him, and those are the people he's ripping off.
But those people on the left are not proud Americans that don't believe in freedom. That's the problem.
Sure.
And that's why they support the Korean cabal and buy their Samsung phones.
I have a company, it drives me crazy when companies do this too, and it just feels like they're overly gouging their own customers.
Yeah.
They are overly gouging their own supporters, and I think it's so extraordinarily immoral. And I will put two out here.
Yeah.
And these will be controversials, and this is where we're going to get the hate mail. You know what I'm going to say? Apple and Disney. They are both gouging their customers big time.
Okay. Can we do Disney first?
We can go in any order you want.
Let me take a swing at this and see if I can pick up what you're putting down. With Disney, you talk about like all of like the add-on, all the like, okay, you go watch Frozen and then you're buying the 700 Frozen dolls and you're buying the Frozen thing and the, like, is that what you mean?
I'm more thinking about the parks.
Once you're there, you got to buy the hot dog that's $30.
Yes. It's just what's the maximum amount we can gouge from our customers in every possible angle.
Yeah.
I agree. You do. Absolutely. You get to make a profit, but at some point you have just excessively gouged your customers to the point where I think you are being adversarial to your supporters.
You are going to yell at me for this.
Yeah.
You might be right. I am going to sound like a Disney shill. I hate this. Their adaptive pricing, I do think, leads to a better park experience.
Their dynamic pricing?
Well, yeah, same, right? I mean, this is much like the dynamic pricing that you see on high occupancy vehicle lanes, basically toll lanes, which I don't think we do a great job, at least not yet in Southern California, of pricing that fast enough. But I've read about how they do it, like especially in Minnesota, where it's designed to maintain the flow of traffic. So you're paying a premium. I do believe that dynamic pricing at Disneyland is designed to do something similar. There's a magic point where you get past a certain number of folks inside the park and the experience gets a lot worse. And they try to manage for that point. I think that's a good thing, as opposed to being a first come, first serve of the park being empty. If you can manage that across the day, I think they've got enough data to do it. I actually think that's a positive thing. That's my view.
Absolutely. 100%. Anytime you can make it so that the people with no money are disadvantaged to the people who have money, what a great thing that is. We should always make it so that the wealthy can do anything they want and the rest of the people just suck it. Well, that's great. Let's do that. By the way, roads is more of an egregious problem than even the Disney experience, at least I can tell my friends, don't waste your money on Disneyland. This is the dumbest thing.
Sure.
It's ridiculously, don't bother But at the roads, what are you going to do? You need the roads.
Yeah.
We should make it more and more expensive so it's really easy for people with means to go drive wherever they want to go, but everybody else, sorry.
No, it's you could still drive in the right lanes and go slower.
Sure.
I understand.
Again, a luxury experience we're giving. The taxpayer is giving a luxury experience for the people who have the means to fork out more money.
Yes.
It's terrible.
How is it terrible?
Absolutely terrible.
I don't know. I'm not sure I agree with you on this one.
Anytime we can make the world better for people with money, let's do that. Well, I'm making the world suck for people who already the world sucks for.
But if you are we using the roads example or the Disneyland example? Which one am I going to lose here?
Go either way. The road one. Okay. The road one really pisses me off. But yes,
sure.
The Disney one I'm not in love with.
I mean, you've still made other improvements to the road. Now, if we add on additional lanes, and if I'm not saying that this is what happens currently in the majority of Southern California, if the costs to maintain and add these additional lanes is borne by the toll riders that are in it.
It's not.
But if it were, doesn't that make it okay?
I know. It'd be nice if it were, but it isn't.
Okay.
It's borne by the taxpayers.
But you already have a grant-in program of HOV, which is designed to have, if you have more people in your vehicle, we give you special access because in theory there are less cars on the road.
I think that's great.
Okay. And then when we levered that system to enable early adoption of more efficient vehicles, was that okay?
Fantastic.
Okay, but then when it gets...
I'm all for that.
But both of those cater to people that have more money.
Well, no, not necessarily. Yes. I could have other riders in my car who don't have money.
Of course, you could.
And we're also kind of addicted to breathing.
But that part you're okay with.
I'm much more okay with that than I am the rest.
So here's the good news on the HOV lanes here. There's still HOV lanes. So if you have multiple people, you don't pay the toll.
No, that part's great. That should always be the case.
You're paying the toll only if you're a single rider.
Correct.
Right? Or less than whatever the occupancy is.
And there are people who have to get to jobs where there aren't other people who live in the same place and work in the same place. And those people don't have lots of money, lots of discretionary income, so they can just go jump.
Sure.
But the people who do, it sucks. We should not build a world that benefits people who have means like this. This is awful. Well, of all the people we don't want to disadvantage, it's people who don't have means.
It's just interesting where you draw the line. So you're okay granting folks who have been able to afford buying a new car that's an EV or a hybrid or whatever it was. Those folks are okay.
When it's a small number of people and they're doing the early adoption thing, 100%. Yeah. You do need to give some sort of incentive for people to buy those vehicles.
Sure.
Because at the time there weren't a ton of charging stations and things. You didn't have tons of infrastructure. You had to give some benefit to it. And net, those benefit everybody that we're getting less carbon in the air.
Sure. I guess I just don't see the difference. It seems like they seem very, very similar to me.
I would explain it to you, but there's a football game I want to watch. So enough of the headlines. In fact, enough of the episode. We have to get out of here. Special thanks to our floor director, Matt Darling.
Thanks, Matt.
We'll be back later this week with vaporware, bold announcements, glossy mock-ups, and release dates that ignore commitment. If you've ever fallen in love with a product that only existed in a keynote slide, this one's for you. Until then, thank you for listening to All This Nonsense. I'm Jeff Parker.
I'm Stittle.
Go, 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 Indiana. Of course, by the time you're hearing this, you know how it came out.
Either way, they're going to be number 2. No matter what happens, win or lose,
number 7, yes.
They're going to be ranked number 2. That's my prediction.
They will be number 7.
My prediction is the AP toll. They cracked the top 10, Jeff. Hooray! The EP1 EPROM programmer. Jeff, you can program or duplicate virtually every EPROM or EEPROM up to 512K with this low-cost programmer.
Fantastic.
The compact EP1 fits nicely on your desk or in your briefcase for field service. It has menu-driven chip selection that gives you the correct programming algorithm quickly and easily. The EP1 works with the IBM PC, XT, AT, and compatibles, development systems, CPM systems, which I know you own a bunch of, and other computers.
Okay.
The EP1 costs only $989 and requires no modules or software to perform the full spectrum of MOS and CMOS, EPROMs, and EEPROMs.
Yes.
It's covered by a full 1-year limited warranty.
Wonderful.
It's a great value because it reads, programs, copies over 150 types of EPROMs. It has an optional Intel microcontroller programming heads. It has a gold TexTool ZIF IC socket. It works on 5, 12.5, 21, and 25 volt programmings, and has 8 selectable baud rates from 300 to 38,400 baud.
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, I bet you were. The EP1 EPROM programmer from BP Microsystems. Order yours today.
I'll get right on it.
Now,
by the way, does this come with the ultraviolet light that you need?
The resetter?
The EPROMs? Yes,
the resetter. Exactly. No, the resetters are much, much cheaper. They're like usually an eighth of the cost, but I do not believe this includes it. I specifically left several hints in here to make this easier. However, I still don't think this is easy. I think this is one of the harder ones I've given you.
This is not cost adjusted. Let's start
This is cost adjusted. Thank you for asking that. The $989 is today dollars. That is correct.
A friend of mine's dad had an EPROM programmer that sounds somewhat like this. this.
Yeah.
He was a guy who was developing computer hardware.
Cool.
Also, he had all sorts of experimental stuff like this.
Cool.
But I think that was probably around 1985.
Okay.
Was my guess.
Really good guess.
These were hot from like 85 to probably 95. They were dead.
Yeah.
They couldn't have lasted longer than 10 years.
My read on this was you probably had a little longer, like early 80s to mid 90s was sort of the window, which I thought was really interesting because you really don't know. The hints I tried to give you were specifically the IBM PC brands.
Sure.
And then specifically not the ones that came later. This ad was from February of 87.
Oh, okay.
So you're in the right window. I will say, though, I think of all the ones that I've given you, this is probably the hardest one that I can think of because this one's tricky because it had such a huge span. The price at the time was $349, by the way.
There you go.
That was but I've learned not to give that to you because then you can do math and figure this out.
Yeah.
The EP1 EPROM programmer, February 1987.
Very nice.